Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining our webinar. We're going to give it about another minute to let more people join in. So we will start in about a minute. Thank you. Good morning again and welcome. This is Megan Mansfield from Accordant Company. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar from GCPay titled Streamline Sub-Invoice and Lien Waivers with GCPay's new Sage Intacct integration. Our presenter today is Christina, Channel Account Executive from GCPay. Before we get started, I want to address a few housekeeping items. Everyone is muted for a clean listening experience. If you have any questions, please type them into the questions box. We will collect the questions and address them at the end of the session. For the best viewing experience, please maximize your screen. Today's webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be provided by email. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Christina.
Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. Wonderful introduction. Hello and welcome, everyone. We are so excited that you are all here wanting to learn more about how GCPay can simplify the application for payment process. And today, of course, we'll be talking about our newest integration with Sage Intacct for construction. For today, we're really just kind of giving you a sneak peek into GCPay, if you will. If after today you think GCPay could be a good fit for your team, of course, reach out. We would be happy to schedule a live direct demo with you and your team, showing you everything that GCPay can do. Also, as Megan has mentioned, the best way to communicate with us today will be using that chat feature. So please enter any of your burning questions that you may have throughout today's presentation into that chat box. All right, let's jump in. So for those of you who have not heard of GCPay, GCPay is a cloud-based platform for managing the subcontractor application for payment process. GCPay was founded in 2003. However, in 2004 is when we partnered with Sage to be able to create that direct API integration. So almost as long as GCPay has been around, we have been partnered with Sage, currently serving over 40,000 companies in the platform, generating just a little over 30 billion in contracts annually. We manage projects not only in the US, but Canada as well. So what are some of the main reasons that companies like yours choose to use GCPay? Well, think back to your current processes and the time you spend going through your sub invoices, reviewing, just correct values, verifying the contract values, the previously billed amounts, the retainage percentages, balance to finish values are all correct math. Or the back and forth between accounting and project management and subs to verify your subs billing for change orders that aren't yet approved. In GCPay, you will see how subs can easily submit their billings right in the platform, and your appropriate approvers are all automatically notified, completely eliminating those back and forth emails, those bogged down inboxes, and just really automating that whole process. GCPay will completely eliminate any possibility for a sub to overbill line items or contracts or make any sort of math mistakes. Part of the direct integration includes automatically pulling over approved change orders from Sage. So this will eliminate you having to hand key them and also ensuring that a sub can never again bill for unapproved change orders. Or what about your lien waivers? Is your team customizing lien waivers? Or how do you know that you're getting your waivers back when you need them? Is your team using a manual spreadsheet to track them or constantly calling, emailing subs to get them back? With GCPay, I'll show you today how we can automatically generate your lien waivers in the platform and require that the waiver come along with the subs invoice. Your team will never again having, to have to spend time generating the lien waivers or worry about there being any errors on them. They are perfect every single time. Compliance is another piece. Is this another spreadsheet that your team is using to track your subs COIs? Or what about the time it takes for your team to notify your subs and wait for them to submit their updated insurance? This is another big piece that GCPay can manage, taking another timely task off of your team's responsibilities. We have the ability to manage all of your subcontractors' required insurance items in the platform. We can automatically notify your subs when it's about to expire, and we can even stop your subs from submitting an invoice until they are compliant. Are you looking to get away from paper checks? In GCPay, we have an electronic payment feature built in, so you never have to cut checks again. Our electronic payment feature is optional and flexible, allowing you to choose who you want to pay electronically if desired. Again, GCPay and Sage partnered up in 2004 to create our direct API integration. We currently integrate with Sage 100 Contractors, Sage 300 Construction and Real Estate, as well as Sage Intacct for Construction. We can push your approved invoices directly back into Sage. So again, you never have to spend time hand keying your sub invoices back into Sage. Today, again, we're just giving you a sneak peek into GCPay, really focusing on the sub billing and lien waiver portion along with the integration. Please be sure to reach out so we can provide you a one-on-one demo and show you all that GCPay can do for you and your subcontractors. One of the things I would encourage you to do if you do find today's webinar interesting is go do your own due diligence. I'm going to show you some really great benefits of GCPay. However, take a look at what our customers have to say about using GCPay. G2, Capterra, these are your peers in the industry providing their feedback on our software. What you're going to find is that time and time again, we get very high user ratings, not just on the ease of use. We try to make it very user friendly, not just on the ease of setup, making the onboarding process very simple for you and your subcontractors, but really we focus a lot on the level of quality of support for you and your subcontractors. We understand that your subs are a very important part of this relationship, so we go out of our way to ensure that your subs have a live person to contact and get their questions answered in real time. We do not expect your team to be answering questions about the platform. We provide many different ways for your team and your subs to get the support when needed. And talking about subcontractors, right? This is the number one concern we hear. We know, it's important for your subs to like GCPay. GCPay sent out a survey to over 40,000 customers for sub feedback, and just over 5,000 subs responded, stating they rate 4.3 out of 5 stars. 83% stated that they were very satisfied, if not satisfied, using GCPay. I think it's safe to say this is a very valuable tool for them as well. All right, so let's go ahead and switch gears. I am going to jump into the platform. Give me just a moment. All right, here we go. All right, so jumping into GCPay. First off, what I want you to notice here is we're just on a web browser. GCPay is fully web-based, meaning that you can access GCPay from any location, any device, as long as you have an internet connection. GCPay.com is where you go to log in, and same will go for your subcontractors. So logging into GCPay, as you'll see under the welcome page, we have quick links where you can access different areas of the software, including starting a new project. Recent news, we are always making feature enhancements when necessary to the platform, so you can read about any of those feature releases here. As I mentioned earlier, using our direct API integration, we're going to have your company folders, if you have more than one company folder, listed here. You are going to be able to select which company folder that we're going to be pulling that project from. So again, if you have just the one, you would see only the one company folder. But the point is using our direct API integration, you are not having to rekey any of that project information. With a click of a button, we can easily pull in the project that you've already entered into Sage. For today, I've already started as a project, Lake Ridge Plaza. So under general settings, project name, number, location, this is all that project information that you've already keyed into Sage. We are pulling it over exactly as is. Of course, you can make any of those edits as necessary. And also, this is going to be the same information used later on to automatically generate your lien waivers with, which I'll show you later. Users. So again, GCPay, we have the ability to customize your routing and approval process. So you have the ability to add, which project managers, which project admins need to be a part of this routing and review process. We have the ability to designate roles and permissions for every single one of your users, as well as a review order. So again, we can get very granular and have many people a part of the review process that need to be. Again, be sure to schedule a direct demo. We can go into more detail on exactly how users are set up in the platform. So let's go ahead and move on to the next tab over, project companies. So this is now where we have the ability to invite the subcontractors to this Lake Ridge Plaza project. As you can see under subcontractor, we've already added Barth Electric and Jackson Heating and Air. To add an additional sub, we'll just simply hit add company. We can type in the name of the subcontractor. We can type in their EIN number, but with a click of a button, we'll be able to easily invite the subs that need to be a part of this project. Your subs will be alerted via email that they've been added to this Lake Ridge Plaza project. All right, next tab over, integration. So again, really highlighting that integration between Sage and GCPay. We are going to now be pulling in those commitments or those purchase orders that are tied to the subcontract for this project. So with GCPay, we are going to have the ability to, we can pull in the commitment as a lump sum. We can pull it in with all of that line item detail, just as you have it in Sage. We can hit link contract and we can select one by one. Alternatively, we can hit auto select match contracts. GCPay can easily detect which commitments or purchase orders are tied to the subcontractors that we've already added to this project. All right. Now, again, be sure to schedule a direct demo with me, and I can actually show you what exactly that process does entail if you did want your subcontractors to create their own schedule of values, or if we're bringing over, those commitments with all that line item already on it. All right, so now that we brought over those commitments and those purchase orders for those subcontractors, I do want to show you the compliance piece. This is going to be another key area for you within GCPay. As of today, within Sage Intacct, GCPay is going to be the compliance piece for Sage Intacct. We have the ability to easily add which required compliance items are going to be necessary. We have the description along with the expiration date. GCPay will not only track but notify your subs 30 days prior to expiration date, as well as the day of expiration date. So again, no one on your team needs to be using those manual spreadsheets, or Excel spreadsheets, having to track your subcontractors' required insurance items, having to, email or call them, letting them know that, hey, we need to get this updated. GCPay is going to track and alert your subs of all of their required COIs. From there, your subs have the ability to upload those updated documents directly into the platform. Now, again, with the compliance piece, we do also have a couple of controls that we can put in place. So as I mentioned earlier, if you don't want your subs billing, if they have any expired compliance items, we have the ability to put those controls in place. Again, be sure to schedule a direct demo and we can talk a little bit more on exactly how that works. All right. Now, for today, I'm actually going to scroll over to our project settings. Of course, we have our company level settings up top, but if there are project specific settings that we need to customize, we can do so here. If you want to turn on electronic payment for this project, you can do that here. Is there a specific, day of the month that you require your sub invoices to be due by? We have the ability to select that due date, and we can even send billing reminders, alerting your subs that, hey, we need to get those invoices in before the 25th. Now, again, today, we're really just kind of focusing on lien waivers. So just a few of the key pieces that GCPay has to offer. So when we're talking about lien waivers, I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes going over how we set up the lien waivers in GCPay. So your team would send us all of your lien waivers in Microsoft Word format. So whether it's the conditionals, unconditionals, the state-specific, owner-specific, whatever waiver you have, we will do all of the heavy lifting. We will upload your waivers and we will tag them so that the correct project name, address, owner, start date, billing numbers are all automatically generated. No need, again, for your team to be manually customizing lien waivers. After your waivers are uploaded, any of the standard waivers are just automatically added to every single project. However, if you do have a specific project waiver that we need to add, you can hit Add Lien Waiver and add those variable waivers here. Next, we have the ability to customize how we want to trigger each waiver. Are we going to require this lien waiver before the sub can submit the pay app, or maybe once the pay app has been approved? We have the ability to designate what type of waiver is this. Is it a partial, an unconditional, or a final? The system is smart and it knows when to trigger the final. Lastly, do you allow for digital signature, or do you require notarization for your lien waivers? We can customize how you want those waivers to be signed. And I also want you to notice here under tiered waivers, GCPay has the ability to manage those third-party suppliers and vendors, as well as those tiered waivers for those third-party suppliers. So again, be sure to schedule a direct demo and we can show you exactly how we can manage those tiered vendors in the platform as well. All right, so let's get to the fun part. I'm gonna go ahead and actually log out, and I'm gonna log in as the subcontractor so I can go ahead and submit my invoice. So logging in as Jackson Heating and Air, you'll notice on the top right corner, Jackson Heating and Air. The logging into GCPay, the view of GCPay is very similar to what you saw logging in as a GC. We have our quick links, we have recent news. Now, what I do want to scroll over to first is I actually want to go to our dashboard. The dashboard is something that we get a lot of really great positive feedback from the subs about. The dashboard is going to show your subcontractors everything that's required of them on this one page. As you can see, we really gamified it. Anything red and a number, you owe something. Green 0, you're good to go. I can easily come in here and take a look. All right, all of my lien waivers that are still outstanding, I can take a look at all of those items here. I can group it by project, I can group it by company. All of my compliance items that have expired, I can go down a line and upload all of those updated documents right from this one page. So again, your subs no longer have to be jumping, from email to email, project to project, or calling your team, trying to, figure out what's required of them before, in order for their invoice to get approved. They can come straight to their dashboard and take a look at everything that's required of them. All right, I'm going to jump over to my project tab, and this is going to show me a list of all of the projects I may be working on with any of the GCs. Now, because we've already approved the schedule of values, we have this green create link button that has appeared in order for us to be able to create the pay app. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. All right, retainage. I'm not going to bore you with retainage, but just know GCPay is pulling that initial retainage value just as you have it in Sage. GCPay supports many different types of retainage, whether it's the standard, the variable, the locking and releasing of specific line items. You as a GC control retainage, so just know that there are many options in the platform. All right, scrolling down, before we talk about what a sub can do, let's talk about what a sub cannot do. The item number, the description, the line item description, or that approved line item value, or if this is my third or fourth billing, any previous billed amounts, these are all locked columns. The only thing that I can do is I can enter a dollar, a percent, or if you allow, the billing for stored material. So I'm going to come in here and I can enter my values, $20,000 worth of work. Notice the percent of work automatically calculated. We can go the other way around and we can start entering percentages of work complete. And as you'll notice, it's perfect math every single time. The percent of retainage, the balance to finish. No one on your team has to be spending time reviewing your sub billings for any sort of math errors. Or what about overbilling? All right, well, this line is 2,000, but you know what? I think I deserve 5. Notice GCPay will not allow your subs to overbill line items. So again, another piece that your team no longer has to be verifying sub billings for. Change orders. Notice there is nowhere for me to enter a change order here. Now, as you'll notice, change order number 1 did come through, so we can go ahead and bill on change order number 1. Again, I want to be able to briefly show you just today a sneak peek, but if you would like to schedule a live demo with myself, I can go into more detail on how we are able to automatically pull in those approved change orders using our direct API integration, no hand keying whatsoever. They automatically flow into GCPay onto the approved schedule of values. All right, so again, a few key items here. No math mistakes. It's perfect math every single time. Your subs cannot overbill line items, nor does your sub have the ability to bill for any change orders that have not yet been approved. Stored material, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't allow your subs to bill for stored material, then this is a column that can be turned off. However, if you do allow for the billing of stored material, I'll show you today how we can enforce maybe any of that backup that you require, whether it be the invoices, certificate of insurance, pictures, come along with the sub invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a value here. All right, scrolling down, your sub is given a summary. It makes this process just so much more transparent. They can clearly see how much will be paid if approved. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. All right, notice here, the submit button is grayed out, and that's because GCPay has the ability to require any sort of document come along with the sub invoice. Think back about your team and the time it takes, for them to not only verify sub billings, but then what about all of those additional documents that you require, whether it's lien waivers, or maybe it's, like I mentioned earlier, the backup for the billing of stored material. Your sub cannot submit the invoice until all of these items have in fact been fulfilled. So let's go ahead and start at the top. Provide additional information about your contractors. So again, if your team is currently managing your tiered suppliers, those third-party subs, we have the ability in the platform to have this turned on. So your sub has to verify, are there any tiered suppliers? If there are, they would simply hit yes. It'll take them to the tiered vendor tab, where they can go ahead and enter that tiered vendor information, the contract value, what's due this period. And GCPay can automatically send waivers to those tiered suppliers. For today, we're going to go ahead and hit no. Again, be sure to reach out for a direct demo, and we can show you that piece. All right, next item here is a checklist. So again, the checklist is really just an acknowledgement. Is there something in the contract that you want your subs to acknowledge? I would say most of our subs do have this turned on and say something around, if you have outstanding compliance, your payment will be delayed. This way, your subs can't come back to you and say, hey, I didn't know I wasn't going to get paid if my compliance items were outstanding. Well, yes, you did. It's in the contract. You acknowledged it, and it's on the audit trail. So again, this is all custom verbiage. You can have as many acknowledgements as needed. And what's important here is that it shows up on the audit trail. All right. Next is going to be the backup for stored material. So again, GCPay is smart. It knows that if your sub enters a value in the stored material column, that backup is required. This line item here was automatically triggered because we did in fact put a value in the stored material column. So again, this is all custom verbiage. Whatever sort of backup you require, whether it's the pictures or insurance or pictures or anything like that, you can have all of those line items listed here. So again, your sub must upload that backup before they can submit the invoice. Your team never again has to be spending time emailing or calling or using any sort of manual spreadsheets trying to request that backup to come along. All right, where is my stored materials? Let's see here. All right, there we go. Now that I've got my picture of stored materials added, we are good to go. All right, lastly are those lien waivers. So today I'm going to show you how your team can require your lien waivers upfront from your sub, ensuring that you never again have to spend time chasing them down. I highly doubt that there's ever a situation where you're asking for 3 lien waivers upfront from your subs, but again, there are many customization options. We want to show you the whole breadth of options that you have around waivers. As you can see here, the GC is requiring 2 conditionals and 1 unconditional. 2 can be signed digitally and 1 requires notarization. So let's start at the top with the conditional that we can sign digitally. Now, just pretend that this is one of your waivers, whatever your lien waiver looks like today, the style, the layout, the font, we're uploading your waivers into the platform. What's important here is everything that you see here in bold. These are those custom tags that I was mentioning earlier. We have over 80 of these custom tags, so we have the ability to automatically generate your lien waivers with all of that prevalent information that you require: the project name, the billing numbers, the through dates, the addresses, the owner names. So again, no one on your team ever has to be spending time, customizing lien waivers ever again. Now, because we have the digital signature feature turned on, I can hit sign document, remembers my signature from the prior time, and you can see how easy it is for your subs to sign, and now it's dated. Our digital signature is good by UETA guidelines and fully legal as a wet signature in all 50 states. All right, now the conditional that requires notarization. So if your sub has a notary there in their office, they would just simply download it, get it notarized, and re-upload right back into the platform. Alternatively, we have a partnership with notarize.com, which is online notarization. So your sub has the ability to click this link, which will lead them to notarize.com's website. The notary will open up a Zoom call like we're on now. They will online notarize the waiver, and it is automatically imported back into GCPay. We negotiated a max wait time of 5 minutes, and online notarization is legal in all 50 states. I'm going to upload my conditional waiver. All right, now that that's been completed, lastly is that unconditional. And you may be wondering, why would a sub ever sign an unconditional or a final waiver before payment? The key here is that I have GCPay's optional e-payment feature turned on, which guarantees receipt of final or unconditional waiver. First, let's just take a look at the waiver. It's your standard, normal unconditional waiver. But notice when I hit sign document, the waiver now has a watermark all over it that says unofficial copy. This is the key for your team on how you can ensure you are never chasing a waiver again. Since the e-payment is being utilized, we will take the funds from the GC bank account, and the second the money clears the sub bank account, GCPay will simultaneously release this waiver back to the GC without the watermark. In real life, the sub is being told while they're submitting this unconditional or final, it will only be a watermarked version that the GC can view, and only once the funds clear their account will the official waiver be released back to the GC. This is leaving both parties completely protected. Your subs are getting paid quickly. You don't have to worry about storing your subs' bank account information, and it guarantees receipt of waiver every time. All right, now that we have fulfilled all of these required items, you can see here, submit button is highlighted. We can go ahead and submit the invoice. All right, now that we've submitted it, I also want to show you, never again will anyone on your team be spending time on having to generate your sub AIA invoices. GCPay is automatically generating your invoices in that AIA format every single time. You have your G702, the G703, and here's that audit trail. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and log out, and I'm going to log back in as the GC for the final time. We're going to go ahead and review and approve the sub invoice. So I'm actually going to go straight to my dashboard. Every single user within GCPay will have their very own dashboard. And as I was mentioning in the very beginning, under the user section, users, you have the ability to designate roles and permissions. Your dashboard is going to be reflective of that user's roles and permissions within GCPay. So if you're an admin and you need to see all projects, then you'll have the ability to see all projects versus a project manager who only needs to have visibility to their projects. We can come over here and we can take a look at all of the outstanding lien waivers. We can take a look at all of our subcontractors compliance items that have expired. We can go over here and we can take a look under the submittals and approvals, what's been submitted. And here's that project, Jackson Heating and Air submitted pay app number 1, and we can go ahead and hit review. All right, we can go down each one of these items here, make sure that this is in fact, the pictures of the stored material that I required. Taking a look at the sub billings. If I was a project manager and I was walking the job with my tablet in hand, I could come up top, show me current billings, get rid of the noise, make sure the percent that the subs are billing for is actually what's completed out on the site. Here's that summary that you saw on the sub side. We can clearly see, how much will be paid if approved. We can go ahead and hit review and approve. Now that we've approved the sub invoice, the next step in this workflow is getting that invoice back into Sage. So you'll notice here, we have a Sage Intacct tab. This is going to show me a list of all of our approved invoices. I can select one by one, or I can select all. It does not matter. With a click of this button, we are going to have the ability to import all of your approved sub invoices back into Sage. No hand keying whatsoever. Your invoices are generated for you in Sage. So if you are in fact, paying via paper check or however you're managing that process within Sage, you would have the ability to continue to do so just as is. If you did want to take advantage of the electronic payment feature within GCPay, please be sure to schedule a direct demo so we can show you exactly what that workflow looks like. Also, in GCPay, we have many reports that come out of the box with GCPay. So again, please be sure to schedule, a direct demo so we can show you some of the reports that we do have available. All right, now I have just a couple more slides here. So give me just a moment to switch back. All right. So what comes with GCPay? So GCPay will train both you and your subcontractors. Your dedicated onboarding manager will assist you in making sure that GCPay's settings are all completely set up for you within the platform, including assisting with creating your custom lien waivers and getting them digitized in the platform. GCPay will also support you and your subcontractors. GCPay has an English and Spanish support team available via phone, chat, and email. So again, you never have to worry about dealing with your subs questions about about using the platform. They know that they can contact our support team directly. If you're thinking, hey, we could really use some streamlining or better efficiencies around our sub payment process, please reach out, as we would be happy to schedule a live one-on-one demo going into further detail, showing you everything that GCPay can do. Also, please be sure to enter any additional questions that you have for me. I'll be making sure to stick around until we've had a chance to answer all of your questions today. And with that, I'll pass it back to Megan.
Well, thank you, Christina. That was great. We do actually have 2 questions in the chat. The first one is, if sub sends invoice to wrong project, how do we move it to the right project?
So if your sub is going to be not able to submit an invoice against the wrong project. When they open up on their side the project, that is what the invoice will be attached to. Now, of course, if your sub is in fact, goes into the wrong project and then creates the invoice from there, you have the ability to easily reject that invoice within the platform.
That's great. One more question. Does GCPay integrate with Procore and Sage when commitments are pushed from Procore to Sage through the connector software?
Yes, absolutely. That's a great question. So if you think of Sage as your source of truth, all the information that is flowing into Sage is what we'll be able to pull into GCPay. So if your project managers today are entering those commitments or those purchase orders or even those approved change orders into Procore, that gets pushed into Sage, and from Sage, it gets pushed into GCPay. It's all integrated on the back end. You don't have to do anything on your end.
Thanks for that. One more question in the chat. We occasionally close out projects with COs still pending. If a sub already completed a final waiver, what would happen if they have an additional CO?
You would have the ability to still have your sub bill against that change order if necessary. Again, you are closing the project when you are in fact ready to finally close the project. So you would just simply keep that project open until you are 100% sure that all of those change orders have in fact been submitted and completed.
Okay, one more question. Is there a way to make an owner pay app?
Yes, that's a great question. So we do have owner billing capabilities within GCPay. Definitely reach out so we can actually, show you what that looks like. But yes, we have the ability to create the owner SOV, and then we can map all of your sub billings against that owner SOV. So when you're ready to create that owner invoice, we can automatically generate all of those sub billings onto the owner invoice.
Excellent. There are no more questions in the chat box. I'm going to unmute all the participants, so if there's any questions, maybe they can ask them out loud. And everybody is now unmuted. Are there any other questions for Christina? No? Okay. Then if not, we will conclude the webinar. Thank you again for joining us, and have a, wait, one more question. Cost, question mark.
Absolutely. All of our pricing is completely custom. We know that no GC comes in the same size, shape, or form. So what we really try to look at are, what are your project numbers? What are those project sizes? What are the number of payouts that your team is processing? So with all of these variables, what we try to do is customize pricing to fit your company size. So yep, definitely reach out. We would love to set up a discovery call, a demo, and then of course we can set up a call to review custom pricing with you.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you so much. There are no more questions, so I think we will conclude the webinar now. And again, thank you for joining us, and have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.